Before we begin the story, let us know where you are watching from by leaving a comment below. If you enjoy this video, do not forget to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the story, everyone. The clock on the wall showed 2:17 a.m. Nathaniel Stone sat in his leather chair on the 28th floor, staring at red numbers that refused to make sense. 3 emergency board calls, 6 cups of black coffee, and 12 hours later, nobody could find the error that was bleeding money from Stone Financial Group like an invisible wound. Nathaniel rubbed his tired eyes. He had sent his entire team home 2 hours ago. Come back fresh tomorrow, he had told them, though tomorrow was already today. But CEOs do not leave when their company is drowning. They stay and pretend they can save it alone. He was about to close his laptop when he heard it. The soft click of computer keys coming from the accounting floor. His heart jumped. Nobody should be here. Nobody was authorized to be here. Nathaniel stood up, grabbed his phone, and walked barefoot down the dark hallway. His mind raced through possibilities. A corporate spy. A hacker. Maybe someone from the investigative team who had stayed behind without telling anyone. The sound grew louder as he approached the main accounting office. Through the glass wall, he saw a blue glow from multiple monitors. Someone was typing fast, very fast, with the kind of speed that comes from knowing exactly what they are doing. He pushed the door open slowly, ready to call security. Ruby Carter sat in the chief accountant's chair, wearing her cleaning uniform with the company logo stitched on the pocket. Her dark hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. Her fingers moved across the keyboard like a concert pianist playing a familiar piece. She did not even glance at him. "1 second," she said, raising her hand without looking away from the screen. "Almost done." Nathaniel froze. His brain stopped working for 3 full seconds. A cleaning woman was inside his financial system at 2 a.m., and she was asking him to wait. "What are you doing?" he finally managed to say, his voice sharper than he intended. Ruby kept typing. Her eyes scanned the screen with intense focus. "Just fixing something that nobody else seemed to notice." "You are breaking into company files." Nathaniel took 2 steps forward. "This is illegal." "Not really breaking in when the password is taped to the monitor," Ruby said calmly. She pointed at a yellow sticky note with her free hand. "Also, someone drew a smiley face on it, which honestly makes the security violation even sadder." Nathaniel looked at the sticky note. She was right. The password was there in blue ink, complete with a little heart next to it. He felt embarrassment creep up his neck. "I am calling security right now," he said, pulling out his phone. "Done." Ruby hit the enter key with dramatic force. The monitors blinked. Red warning messages turned green. Numbers that had been screaming error suddenly lined up in perfect rows. The system seemed to take a deep breath and relax. She spun the chair around to face him, crossed her arms, and smiled. "Much better." Nathaniel stared at the screens, then at her, then back at the screens. "Better what?" "The $400 million error that started at 9 p.m. yesterday," Ruby said as if she were explaining something obvious. "Someone accidentally merged 2 different fiscal quarters and created a phantom loss. The system was going to flag it tomorrow morning when the auditors ran their checks. That would have triggered an automatic investigation, frozen your assets, and probably made the news by noon." She stood up and stretched. "Also, whoever set up your formulas mixed column references. It happens when people copy and paste without paying attention. Easy fix once you know what you are looking for." Nathaniel felt the room spin slightly. "You fixed a $400 million accounting error. By yourself. At 2 a.m. "It was bothering me." Ruby picked up her cleaning supplies from beside the desk. "I was mopping the hallway, saw the numbers on the screen, and my brain would not let it go. Like when you see a crooked picture frame and you have to straighten it. A crooked picture frame, Nathaniel repeated slowly. Exactly, Ruby smiled. Except with financial data instead of pictures. When numbers are wrong, they shout at me. I cannot ignore them even when I try. Silence filled the room. Outside the windows, the city lights twinkled like scattered diamonds. Nathaniel looked at this woman in a cleaning uniform who had just saved his company from a catastrophic audit. Do you have a degree in accounting? He asked. Finance? Business management? I finished community college, Ruby said. Took some online courses in Excel and data analysis. Mostly taught myself by watching tutorials and practicing with my own budget spreadsheets. You taught yourself advanced corporate accounting from YouTube. And library books, Ruby added. Also, I had a neighbor who was a retired CPA. She let me help her with tax season every year. Said I had a gift for finding mistakes. Nathaniel sat down on the edge of the desk. This made no sense. Nothing about this situation followed any logical pattern he understood. Why are you working as a janitor if you can do this? He gestured at the screens. Ruby's smile faded. She looked down at her worn sneakers. Because companies want degrees and experience listed on paper. They do not care if you can actually do the work. I applied to 15 accounting positions last year. Got 3 interviews. They all said the same thing. Come back when you have the proper credentials. Her voice was steady, but Nathaniel heard the frustration underneath. The resignation of someone who had stopped expecting different outcomes. You are going home now, Nathaniel said, making a sudden decision. Tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m., you come back here. We need to talk. Am I fired? Ruby asked quietly. No, Nathaniel stood up. No, you are definitely not fired. I just need to understand how you did what an entire department could not do. Ruby hesitated, then nodded. She picked up her cleaning cart and walked toward the door. But before leaving, she turned back. For the record, she said, I did not cause the error. I checked the system logs. The mistake happened at 3:47 p.m. yesterday when someone named Vincent Harper made manual adjustments to the quarterly reports. Nathaniel felt his blood run cold. Vincent Harper was his CFO. The logs are still there if you want to verify, Ruby continued. I did not touch anything except the fix. Everything I did is documented with timestamps. She left, pushing her cart down the dark hallway. The wheels squeaked softly until the sound faded completely. Nathaniel stood alone in the bright office, looking at the now perfect financial reports on the screens. A cleaning woman had hacked his system to save his company. She had found an error his CFO had made or hidden, and she had fixed it without asking for anything in return. He pulled up the system logs. There it was. Vincent Harper, 3:47 p.m., manual override on quarterly consolidation. And then at 2:04 a.m., Ruby Carter, error correction with detailed notes explaining every change. Nathaniel looked at the clock. 2:52 a.m. In less than 5 hours, Ruby would be back. And he still had no idea if she was the answer to his problems or the beginning of something much more complicated. He closed his laptop, turned off the lights, and walked back to his office. But sleep did not come. His mind kept replaying the image of Ruby sitting in that chair, fingers flying across the keyboard, fixing problems while the rest of the world slept. Something had shifted tonight. He could feel it. The kind of shift that changes everything that comes after. The morning sun painted the 28th floor in golden light. Ruby Carter stood outside the glass entrance of Stone Financial Group at exactly 7:28 a.m., holding a paper cup of gas station coffee and wondering if she had made a terrible mistake by coming back. She wore the same blue cleaning uniform because it was the only work clothes she owned. Her hair was pulled back neatly this time, and she had even put on a little makeup, though she was not sure why that seemed important. The security guard recognized her and nodded. Mr. Stone is expecting you. Conference Room B. Ruby's stomach tightened. She walked through the elegant lobby, past the marble fountain and expensive artwork, feeling completely out of place. Other employees in crisp business attire glanced at her uniform with barely concealed curiosity. Conference Room B was empty except for Nathaniel Stone, who stood by the window looking at the city below. He wore a perfectly tailored navy suit, his dark hair combed back, looking every inch the successful CEO that magazine covers love to photograph. He turned when she entered. "You came. You told me to," Ruby said, sitting down in the chair across from him. She placed her coffee on the expensive mahogany table, immediately worried it might leave a ring. Nathaniel sat down, folding his hands on the table. "I had our HR department pull your file this morning." Ruby's heart sank. "And they found nothing interesting, I assume?" "Actually, they found almost nothing at all." Nathaniel slid a thin folder across the table. Ruby Carter. Age 28. Hired by the cleaning company 6 months ago. Before that, employment gaps. No criminal record, no college transcripts, no credit history worth mentioning. "You are a ghost." Ruby looked at the folder without opening it. "That is what happens when you lose everything. You become invisible." "What did you lose?" Ruby took a long sip of coffee, deciding how much to tell him. "Everything. My job, my apartment, my savings. I used to work as a junior accountant at a small firm. Nothing fancy, but I loved it. Then the owner died, his son took over, and he brought in his own people. I got laid off along with half the staff." She traced the rim of her coffee cup with one finger. "I could not find another job fast enough. Rent kept coming. Bills kept coming. I had to choose between eating and keeping my apartment. Eventually I lost both." Nathaniel listened without interrupting. "That I lived in my car for 2 months, Ruby continued. Did freelance bookkeeping for cash when I could find it. Applied to every accounting position in the city. But when you have gaps in your resume and no fixed address, nobody wants to take a chance on you." Her voice stayed steady, but her eyes revealed old pain. "The cleaning job was the first company willing to hire me. Regular paycheck, night shift so I could avoid most people, and enough to rent a room in a shared apartment. Not glamorous, but better than sleeping in a parking lot." Nathaniel felt something uncomfortable twist in his chest. "I am sorry." "Do not be," Ruby met his eyes. "I am not telling you this for sympathy. You asked why someone with my skills works as a janitor. That is why. Life does not care about your skills when you do not have the right credentials or connections." "Fair enough," Nathaniel leaned back. "So now I need to figure out what to do with you." "You could let me keep cleaning," Ruby suggested. "Pretend last night never happened." "I could," Nathaniel agreed. "But that would be stupid, and I did not build this company by being stupid." Before Ruby could respond, the door burst open. Vincent Harper strode in, looking furious. His expensive suit was perfectly pressed, his silver hair styled with precision, and his face was red with barely controlled anger. "Nathaniel, we need to talk," Vincent said, then noticed Ruby. "Alone." "Whatever you need to say, you can say it in front of her," Nathaniel replied calmly. Vincent's jaw clenched. "Fine. 3 of my analysts came to me this morning complaining that the cleaning staff corrected their work yesterday. Apparently, she pointed out errors in their quarterly projections." Ruby shifted uncomfortably in her chair. "And were the errors real?" Nathaniel asked. "That is not the point," Vincent stepped closer to the table. "The point is she has no authority to touch anything. She is not qualified. She is not trained. And frankly, her presence in sensitive areas is a security risk. She saved us $400 million last night," Nathaniel said quietly. Vincent's expression flickered for just a moment. "So she claims." The system logs confirm it, Nathaniel continued. They also show that the original error was made during manual overrides yesterday afternoon. Your manual overrides, Vincent. Silence fell like a hammer. Vincent's face went pale, then red again. I was making standard adjustments. The consolidation process requires human oversight. Human oversight that created a $400 million discrepancy. Vincent's eyes narrowed. Or maybe she created the discrepancy and then pretended to fix it. Have you considered that? She appears out of nowhere, gains access to our systems, and suddenly she is the hero. That is called social engineering, Nathaniel. It is the oldest hacking technique in the book. Ruby stood up. I did not create anything. The logs show exactly when the error occurred and who made it. Logs can be altered, Vincent shot back. Especially by someone who knows their way around a system. Then check the backup servers, Ruby said firmly. They maintain separate records that cannot be modified without administrator access. Cross-reference them with the primary logs. The timeline will prove I am telling the truth. Vincent's mouth opened, then closed. He looked at Nathaniel. I strongly advise you to investigate this thoroughly before you trust someone who cleans toilets for a living. He left, slamming the door behind him. Ruby sat back down, her hands shaking slightly. She wrapped them around her coffee cup to hide the tremor. That went well. Nathaniel watched her carefully. He is scared. Of me? Ruby almost laughed. I am nobody. No, Nathaniel said thoughtfully. He is scared of what you might find. People do not react that defensively unless they have something to hide. So what now? Now, Nathaniel stood up, I do what she suggested. I check the backup servers. The rest of the morning passed in a blur. Nathaniel had his IT security team pull the backup logs while Ruby waited in a small office, feeling like a suspect in a crime she did not commit. Grace Lynn, Nathaniel's executive assistant, brought her tea and a bagel. Do not worry too much, Grace said kindly. Mr. Stone is fair. If you are telling the truth, he will see it. What if he does not believe me? Ruby asked. Grace smiled. Then he would not have given you tea and a bagel. He would have called security. At 11:30 a.m., Nathaniel returned to the office where Ruby waited. His expression was unreadable. The backup logs confirm your story, he said. Vincent made the error. You fixed it. The timestamps match exactly. Ruby exhaled a breath she did not know she was holding. But, Nathaniel continued, Vincent is right about one thing. You should not have accessed the system without authorization. Technically, what you did violates about 15 different security protocols. So I am fired after all. No, Nathaniel smiled slightly. You are getting a new job. Junior Financial Analyst. Probationary period of 3 months. Salary is $62,000 a year to start. Benefits included. You will report directly to me, not Vincent, Ruby stared at him. You are joking. I do not joke about hiring decisions, Nathaniel said. You have a gift. It would be wasteful not to use it properly. But I do not have the credentials, Ruby said, echoing what Vincent had thrown at her. I am not qualified on paper. Then we will get you qualified, Nathaniel replied. The company will pay for night classes. You can get your degree while you work. Consider it part of your employment contract. Ruby felt tears prickling at the corners of her eyes. She blinked them back furiously. Why are you doing this? Because you saved my company, Nathaniel said simply. And because Vincent is wrong. Qualifications matter, but results matter more. You got results. He extended his hand across the desk. Do we have a deal? Ruby looked at his hand, then at his face. She saw no pity there, no condescension. Just respect and opportunity. She shook his hand. Deal. What neither of them noticed was Vincent Harper standing in the hallway outside, watching through the glass wall. His expression was cold and calculating as he pulled out his phone and made a call. If Nathaniel wants to trust a cleaning woman, Vincent thought darkly, then he will learn the hard way what happens when you ignore proper protocol. I will make sure of it. The following days brought unexpected changes. Ruby moved from the night shift to daytime hours, trading her cleaning uniform for borrowed business clothes until her first paycheck arrived. Grace helped her navigate the office politics and introduced her to the other analysts. Some people welcomed her warmly. Others whispered behind her back. Did you hear? She went from mopping floors to financial analyst. Must be nice to get promoted for doing one lucky thing. I heard she and Nathaniel have something going on. That is the real reason. Ruby heard the whispers but tried to ignore them. She focused on her work, arriving early and staying late, determined to prove she deserved the opportunity. Nathaniel found himself watching her more often than he intended. The way she bit her lip when concentrating on complex formulas. The way she organized her desk with precise symmetry. The way she still talked to herself when she thought nobody was listening. One afternoon, he passed by her cubicle and heard her muttering, "Who creates a pivot table like this? Did they close their eyes and click randomly? This is architectural violence against spreadsheets." He smiled and kept walking, not wanting to interrupt. But Vincent was watching too, and his observations were far less benign. 2 weeks into Ruby's new position, everything seemed too good to be true. She had a real desk, a computer with her name on the login screen, and colleagues who actually asked her opinion during meetings. For the first time in years, Ruby felt like she belonged somewhere. But good things never lasted. She had learned that lesson too many times to forget it now. It was Thursday morning when Vincent Harper called an emergency executive meeting. Ruby was working on quarterly projections when Grace appeared at her cubicle, looking worried. "Mr. Stone needs you in the boardroom immediately," Grace said quietly. Vincent called a meeting about security breaches. Ruby's stomach dropped. She followed Grace down the hallway, her heart pounding with each step. Through the glass walls of the boardroom, she could see Nathaniel sitting at the head of the long table, his expression serious. Vincent stood at the other end, a laptop open in front of him, wearing the smile of someone holding a winning hand. 4 other board members sat along the sides, watching with uncomfortable curiosity. Ruby entered the room. Nathaniel gestured to an empty chair beside him. "Sit." Vincent did not waste time. "Gentlemen, and Ms. Carter, I have called this meeting because I have uncovered evidence of systematic security breaches over the past 3 weeks. He clicked his laptop. The screen on the wall lit up with system access logs. "As you can see, someone has been accessing confidential financial records, client databases, and executive communications during unauthorized hours." The logs showed multiple entries. All tagged with Ruby's user credentials. All occurring late at night. All accessing files far beyond her security clearance. Ruby felt the blood drain from her face. "I did not access any of those files." "The logs say otherwise," Vincent replied smoothly. "Your username, your access codes, time-stamped entries. Either you accessed these files, or you gave someone else your credentials, which is equally serious." "This is impossible," Ruby stood up, her voice shaking. "I have never logged in after 7 p.m. I do not even know where half these files are stored." Nathaniel studied the screen, his jaw tight. "When did you discover this?" "This morning," Vincent said. "Our automated security system flagged unusual access patterns. I had IT pull the detailed logs." He clicked again. Another screen appeared showing file names. Client investment portfolios. Board meeting minutes. Merger negotiation documents. Executive salary information. all files that Ruby would have no legitimate reason to access. One board member, an older woman named Patricia Chen, leaned forward. "Ms. Carter, do you have any explanation for this?" Ruby's hands clenched into fists. "Someone is framing me. These logs are fake or someone used my credentials." "That is convenient," Vincent said. "The classic defense. But the evidence is clear." He looked at Nathaniel. "I am sorry, but we have no choice. Security breaches of this magnitude require immediate termination and possible legal action." Nathaniel remained silent, staring at the screen. Ruby felt panic rising in her chest. After everything, after finally getting a chance, it was being ripped away by lies. "Wait," Nathaniel said quietly. He stood and walked closer to the projection screen. "Vincent, pull up the access log for October 18 at 11:47 p.m. Vincent hesitated, then clicked through the files. The log appeared. "Now show me the backup server log for the same timestamp," Nathaniel continued. "That is unnecessary," Vincent said quickly. "The primary logs are sufficient." "Show me the backup log," Nathaniel repeated, his voice harder now. Vincent's confident expression cracked slightly. "The backup servers do not maintain that level of detail." "Yes, they do," Nathaniel turned to face him. "I had IT upgrade them after Ruby's first night here specifically to prevent tampering. Every action on our primary servers is mirrored on backup servers that require administrator access to modify." He pulled out his phone and dialed. "This is Nathaniel Stone. I need backup server logs for all access under Ruby Carter's credentials for the past 3 weeks. Send them to the boardroom immediately." Vincent's face went pale. "Nathaniel, this is ridiculous. We have the evidence right here." "Then the backup logs will confirm it," Nathaniel said calmly. "Unless they do not match, which would be very interesting." 2 minutes later, Grace entered with a tablet. She handed it to Nathaniel without a word. He connected it to the screen, and new logs appeared beside Vincent's version. The room went silent. The backup logs showed completely different activity. Ruby's actual logins matched her work hours perfectly. But the fabricated late-night entries were missing. Instead, those same timestamps showed administrator access originating from Vincent Harper's office terminal. Patricia Chen gasped. "Vincent, what is this?" Vincent stood frozen, his face cycling through shock, anger, and fear. "This is a mistake. Someone must have used my terminal." Nathaniel scrolled through more entries. "According to these logs, you have been accessing Ruby's account credentials and creating false access records for the past 2 weeks. You also attempted to download client financial data to an external drive yesterday." "That is not," Vincent started, then stopped. His shoulders sagged. The room waited. "I was protecting the company," Vincent finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. "She appeared out of nowhere. No credentials, no background, just suddenly fixing problems that my team should have caught. It looked suspicious. So you decided to frame her?" Patricia's voice was ice. "I was gathering evidence," Vincent insisted. "Proving that she was a risk. But the more I looked, the more I realized she was actually good at her job. Too good. It made me look incompetent." His confession hung in the air like poison. "You created false evidence because your ego was bruised," Nathaniel said, each word precise and cutting. "You violated every security protocol we have. You accessed confidential client data without authorization. You attempted to destroy an employee's career with fabricated logs." Nathaniel looked at the other board members. "I move for immediate termination of Vincent Harper and a full forensic audit of all his activities over the past year." "Seconded," Patricia said immediately. The vote was unanimous. Vincent Harper cleaned out his desk that afternoon, escorted by security. Ruby watched from her cubicle, feeling no satisfaction, only exhaustion. She had been vindicated, but the experience left her shaken. That evening, as the office emptied, Nathaniel found Ruby still at her desk, staring at her computer screen without really seeing it. "You should go home," he said gently. "Get some rest." Ruby looked up at him. "Why did you believe me? Everyone saw those logs. They looked real." Nathaniel pulled over a chair and sat beside her. "Because I have watched you work for 2 weeks. I have seen how you organize your desk, how you color-code your files, how you cannot walk past a crooked picture without straightening it. Someone with that level of precision would never access files randomly at midnight. It did not fit your pattern." Ruby felt her throat tighten. "You noticed all that?" "I notice a lot of things," Nathaniel said quietly. "Like how you talk to spreadsheets when you think nobody is listening. How you bring extra lunch because you know the intern cannot afford to eat out. How you stay late to help other analysts even though they whispered about you behind your back." He paused. "You are extraordinary, Ruby. Not just because you are brilliant with numbers, but because you genuinely care. That is rare." Ruby's eyes filled with tears. She wiped them away quickly. "I thought I lost everything again. I thought I was back to nothing." "You did not lose anything," Nathaniel said. "If anything, you gained something important. Proof that you belong here." "Do I?" Ruby asked. "Half the office thinks I am only here because you feel sorry for me. The other half thinks I am sleeping with you to keep my job." Nathaniel felt anger flash through him. "Who said that? Does it matter?" Ruby stood up, gathering her things. "People believe what they want to believe. I am used to it." "Well, I am not used to it," Nathaniel stood too. "And I am not accepting it. Tomorrow morning, we are calling an all-staff meeting. I am going to explain exactly what happened, what Vincent did, and why you are here. No more whispers. No more doubts. You do not have to do that." "Yes, I do," Nathaniel said firmly. "Because it is the truth. And because you deserve better than rumors and suspicion." Ruby looked at him, really looked at him, and saw something in his eyes that made her heart beat faster. Something that went beyond professional respect or gratitude. "Why does this matter so much to you?" she asked softly. Nathaniel hesitated. "Because somewhere between watching you fix impossible problems and listening to you lecture spreadsheets about proper formatting, I started caring about more than just your professional skills." The confession hung between them, vulnerable and honest. Ruby's breath caught. Nathaniel continued before he could lose his nerve. "I know the timing is terrible. I know it complicates everything. But I cannot keep pretending that I only see you as an employee. You challenge me. You make me laugh. You remind me that brilliance does not always come with the right credentials or the proper background." He took a step closer. "You remind me why I started this company in the first place. Not for money or prestige, but because I believe talented people deserve chances regardless of where they came from." Ruby set down her bag. "This is a bad idea. Office romances never work. Especially between a CEO and someone who used to clean his floors." "Probably," Nathaniel agreed. "But I have built my entire career on taking calculated risks. And you are the best risk I have ever considered." Ruby laughed, a real laugh that surprised both of them. "You are terrible at romantic speeches. Calculated risks? Really?" "I am better with financial projections than feelings," Nathaniel admitted, smiling. "But I am willing to learn if you are willing to teach me." Ruby looked at this man who had given her a chance when nobody else would. Who had believed in her when evidence suggested he should not. Who saw past the cleaning uniform and employment gaps to the person underneath. "One dinner," she said finally. "Somewhere that is not this office. And if you spend the whole time talking about quarterly reports, I am leaving." Deal, Nathaniel said, his smile widening. Saturday night? Saturday night, Ruby confirmed. They stood there for a moment, both suddenly awkward, before Ruby picked up her bag again. I should actually go now before I say something embarrassing, more embarrassing than me calling you a calculated risk. Exactly, Ruby headed for the door, then turned back. Thank you, Nathaniel. For everything. For believing me when you had every reason not to. Thank you for fixing my broken system, Nathaniel replied. Both the financial one and the one that almost let a good person slip away. 6 months later, Ruby Carter became the youngest senior financial analyst in Stone Financial Group's history. She finished her degree with honors while working full-time. She revolutionized the company's error detection systems and trained a team of analysts in her methods. And every Saturday night, she had dinner with Nathaniel Stone. Sometimes they talked about quarterly reports. Usually they did not. The office eventually stopped whispering. Not because the relationship was secret, but because Ruby proved every single day that she earned her place through talent, dedication, and an extraordinary gift for seeing patterns others missed. Vincent Harper was never heard from again, though rumors said he moved to a different city and took a job far from the financial world. Grace Lynn became Ruby's closest friend and unofficial matchmaker, taking full credit for the relationship even though she had nothing to do with it. And late at night, when the office was empty, Ruby still sometimes walked through the floors, straightening crooked picture frames and muttering about improperly formatted spreadsheets. But now she did it wearing expensive business suits instead of a cleaning uniform. And Nathaniel loved her for it.